Holding a grudge doesn't make you strong. It makes you bitter. Forgiving doesn't make you weak. It sets you free. I once heard, there is no love without forgiveness, and there is no forgiveness without love. This episode is called Forgive Me.
Don't you see that your faith is coming alive? Don't you see that it's tested every time? He's the one that makes your life divine. He's the one that makes you feel fine. Your faith's being tested.
Hello everyone, my name is Angel, and this is Have Faith, Let It Begin. We'd like to start off by thanking GABBIE Santana for the use of the theme song, Tested. She wrote it, she produced it, and she performed it. GABBIE Santana is becoming an upcoming star. We ask you to go to her YouTube channel, GABBIE Santana. Keep up the great work, and thank you for your support. When I think of the word forgive or forgiveness, I think immediately of having done something wrong, having said something wrong, and hoping that someone can forgive or forgive me of my actions. When I really start to think about the word forgiveness, I start thinking about all the things I did when I was a young boy and up until I was a young man that I'm not too proud of. And I hope that there's ways that some people in this world can forgive me. You know, in life, we're given so many opportunities to make things right. We're given so many chances to choose certain doors to go through. But let's be real, at times, we choose doors that we're not proud of. We choose doors that we think at that moment are the right ones, and we find out they're the wrong ones. As I was thinking of the word forgiveness and forgive, and I kept thinking to myself, how many times have I actually gone back and asked for forgiveness? How many times in life have I approached certain individuals that I have hurt and I forgot to ask for forgiveness? None of us are perfect. None of us do things deliberate. I like to believe that all of us know and learn from our mistakes and try our best to stay on the right path. I believe that when you grow up, you make so many mistakes and you learn from some you don't. You make the same mistake twice, and then you think you learned, but you don't. And then strike three comes and you lose a friend or you lose a loved one. I have so many things in my mind right now that when I think of the word forgiveness, there's only one thing that truly stands out. In my past, I have done certain things that I'm not proud of. In my past, I have said certain things to individuals that have hurt their feelings. Some were done because it was a corporate setting and it had to be said. Some were said behind people's backs that eventually came back to haunt me. And some were just because I was plain dumb and I acted out due to lack of maturity. I scratch my head and I say to myself, where do you go from this? Where do you begin with this forgiveness? You have to forgive yourself first. You have to believe in yourself and know that what you have done was not deliberate. What you have said was not on purpose. And even if you have said something out of anger, it is really important to forgive yourself first. To know why you said it, to learn from it, so that you can help change your way of thinking. I know at this point some of you are saying, my God, what has he done that it sounds like he's depressed? I'm not depressed. I just can't help but wonder how things could have been different if I had just asked for forgiveness. How things would have been different if I would have taken 5 steps back, taken 3 seconds to think about what I was going to say or do. This way, nothing could have happened and resulted in me losing friends. Back in the early 1990s, late 1990s, I was dating someone, and a lot of people constantly told me she wasn't the right person for me. They told me that I had changed. I had started to become someone that they weren't proud of. Now, I want to be clear, I wasn't involved in drugs or anything illegal, but I just started to have an attitude. And the hardest thing that I can think about is how I put this individual first before anybody else. I lashed out at my parents. I lashed out at really good friends. And I didn't stop to think of how many people I've hurt along the way. When my breakup eventually happened, I had no one else to turn to because I had pretty much alienated almost anyone who was there for me when they knew that I was going to eventually go down this path. I guess what I'm trying to say is, for those that are listening to this show, as I'm getting ready to be a father, I want to do the right thing by teaching my daughter to learn to own up to your mistakes, to own up to your guilt, to own up to things you're not proud of. I'm not proud of the way my first relationship ended. I'm not proud of the way that I handled situations of ending the relationship the way I did. And some of you may say to yourself, was it all your fault? I mean, what happens if it was, their fault too? Well, you know what? They're not on this show right now to defend themselves, so I'm taking my half of the blame and I'm putting it on me. There were times when I lied to cover up for the things that I've done. There were times when this is tougher than I thought. There were times when I said I was in places that I wasn't, as opposed to places where I should have been. Now I know what you're thinking, that was 1997, that was 1999, that was 2000, that was over 20 years ago. Yeah, but doing this show and learning about the do's and don'ts and talking about my past, it has allowed me to learn to forgive myself even more. It has brought up topics of my old past that I realized I never got a chance to forgive. So I'm speaking to all those that know me in high school and my early days in college. I am apologizing for my actions. I apologize to all of you that tried to tell me and warn me to stay away from her, and I didn't. I apologize to all my future colleagues who struggled through my depression when all I needed to do was just take advice or maybe have a helping hand and learn to understand that their intentions were for the good and not the bad. And I don't want this episode to sound as if it was a downer. I just want you to know that it's very hard to come off extremely positive when you want to explain and show everyone that the guilt that you would have inside of you for not allowing yourself to forgive or ask for an apology or ask for forgiveness could have on you later in life. I have to be careful with this episode and not to divulge too much information, not because I would be in trouble, because it's not. It's because I haven't had a lot of permission to name names. So I guess in a way, this is just another way of explaining to all of you out there that we are all not perfect, that we have all made mistakes, that we have all done things that maybe we're not proud of. But the key factor is owning up to it. The key factor is not allowing anyone or anything, especially your past, to dictate your future. You know, God forgives us all. And forgiveness is very, very important. You know, forgiveness is the final form of love. You know, we don't even forgive so that the person who who offended us, or vice versa, can get away with it. Whatever it is that they did, we can also learn to forgive, so we can get away from under the weight of what it is that was done. So I apologize for being very vague on this episode, but I know there's people out there that are listening to this episode and maybe they're thinking, wow, he's going through what I'm going through. Or wow, he's actually taking the time out to make amends. And that's all I want. I want others out there to know that I am sorry. And I hope that you can learn to forgive me. Imagine I'm talking about the days of high school and early college. You can't earn forgiveness from God. You can't pay for your forgiveness from God. You can only receive it by faith through the grace and mercy of God. Forgiveness doesn't excuse bad behavior. Forgiveness prevents from behavior even destroying your own heart. But believing in yourself and forgiving yourself and allowing others to forgive you will set you free. Forgiveness is the best form of love, and it takes a strong person to say you're sorry, an even stronger person to forgive. Forgiveness is not something we do for other people. We do it for ourselves to get well and to move on. But it's also great to give that back to that individual, because that person could be facing guilt of their own. When, why, how to forgive? I don't have a timetable for any of you. All I can tell you is that 20 years later, I'm doing it right here and right now. And that's the only the only topic I wanted to talk to you about today. I woke up and I thought about the word forgiveness. So I'm asking you all that know me, and if I've ever done anything wrong, I'm asking for forgiveness. For have faith, let it begin. My name is Angel. I hope each and every one of you asks the same from others if you felt you've done them wrong. Remember, forgiveness doesn't have a timetable, and forgive them even if they're not sorry. It's not easy. It's not an easy journey. to get yourself into a place where you forgive people is a very powerful thing. But I guarantee you it sets you free. Have a great day, and have faith, and let it begin.
Don't you see that your faith is coming alive?